fresh new name. Same fresh pizza. Still the freshest toppings on our crust made fresh daily. Still nearly a pound of cheese on every large pizza. Celebrate our new name with this special offer. Papa Murphy's Large Perfect Pizza. Half pepperoni, half Hawaiian, just $5.99. Papa Murphy's Take and Bake Pizza. Easily the freshest choice. Always the freshest taste.
It was worse than anyone thought. Hurricane Opal, at least 18 dead, widespread destruction, power still out in many areas. On Health Watch tonight, the birth defect dangers of vitamin A in the early stages of pregnancy. NBC News in depth, what cutbacks in Medicaid mean. Not just the poor will be affected. And our American close-up, a hero for all the right reasons. He stopped a runaway school bus.
From NBC News, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. Pope John Paul II this evening is continuing to captivate the faithful and the merely curious alike as he moves through the New York City area, celebrating Mass and preaching homilies in football stadiums, racetracks, and tonight at St. Joseph's Seminary in the northern suburbs of New York City. Today he had an especially strong message for American men who father children and then abandon them. We'll have more on the Pope's Day in New York and the desperate need for more priests in the Catholic Church later here on NBC Nightly News. Meanwhile, the people of the Gulf Coast could use a little divine intervention and a great deal of help from the federal government and private relief agencies as they go about the massive job of putting their lives and property back together following Hurricane Opal. NBC's Robert Hager tonight, still totaling up the damage.
It's the third costliest hurricane in U.S. history. The relief pouring in now. Convoys of linemen to restore power to nearly 500,000. 4,500 guardsmen to help clean up. The most damaged areas are still sealed off, but will be open for 8 hours tomorrow for property owners only. Thousands lined up today to get the special permits which will be required. A few went ahead today, like this couple risking arrest by persuading a boatman to sneak them for a glimpse of their Barrier Island home. Ashore, they raced to check their property before authorities could stop them. Some donned scuba gear to salvage what they could from sunken boats. Meantime, officials are engaged in an agonizing review of things which went wrong when the storm came on. In a day when hurricane forecasting has improved vastly, this storm showed Mother Nature can still pull surprises. And from that, there are lessons to be learned. This was a storm which turned and suddenly picked up speed, coming ashore 200 miles west of where it was originally headed and 12 hours sooner than had been expected. Evacuation was chaotic. People were advised to head north, creating big traffic jams, while the broader coastal highway with escape routes east and west remained traffic-free all day. There weren't enough evacuation centers to handle the 12,500 who had no place else to go. But for now, there's work to be done, and heartaches for people like Eddie Johnson, who could see across the bay the home he and his wife planned to move into had been blown away. Johnson just retired from the military. His wife, Linda.
We've spent 20 years dreaming about building on the beach, and we saved, and it's sort of like in one swoop, all your dreams are gone.
Dreams gone, homes gone, and authorities saying it'll take $2 billion to recover. Robert Hager, NBC News, Pensacola.
And a major medical story to report tonight of special interest to the 6.5 million women who get pregnant in this country every year. This one involves vitamin A and birth defects. With his Health Watch report, here's NBC's Robert Bazell.
The study found that vitamin A supplements taken by pregnant women can be dangerous for the unborn child in surprisingly small doses.
Women who take vitamin A supplements at this level could be putting their child at risk of serious birth defects.
Vitamin A is measured by a term called international units. A healthy diet can easily supply the recommended daily allowance of 2,700 units. Multivitamin supplements contain 5,000 or 10,000 international units, as do some breakfast cereals. Pills sold in health food stores contain as much as 25,000 international units. The study found that women taking 10,000 units a day had twice as many babies with birth defects as women who took less. Those taking 20,000 units or more a day had a 5-fold increase in birth defects. The birth defects included cleft lip, cleft palate, hydrocephalus or water on the brain, and major defects of the heart and thymus gland.
Great shot of the heart.
The ribs.
Vitamin A is stored in the mother's body. The greatest danger to the fetus occurs during the first few weeks of development.
By the time that a woman realizes that she is pregnant, it may be too late to reduce high vitamin A intake enough to avoid adverse effects.
The Food and Drug Administration issued a statement today saying the study raises serious public health concerns. The FDA is considering label warnings and other actions. Meanwhile, experts point out that fresh vegetables, meats, and dairy products can supply adequate amounts of vitamin A. Supplements may not be necessary at all. Robert Bazell, NBC News, New York.
When NBC Nightly News continues tonight, more Simpson fallout and NBC News exclusive Jack Ford's interview with Los Angeles District Attorney Gil Garcetti.
We did not see the racist problems.
And when we come back, the Pope's Day in New York and his battle over a crisis in the Catholic priesthood.
In business, you can't always count on having enough time. But you can count on AT&T, because only AT&T guarantees you a competitive price. Our 1-800-COMPARE Center will give you an immediate side-by-side price comparison, and we're so sure that our prices are competitive that if you don't agree, we'll give you 1 month's worth of long distance up to $500. These days, you can't count on much, but you can count on AT&T for the life of your business.
It's not fair. While we're doing our business out there, she's in her scoop away. The litter that clumps where she wets. They scoop away the clumps. She's got a box that's day one clean. Me, I got a dog's life.
Scoop away the litter that's day one clean every day.
When I have diarrhea, I could use some comforting. I get it from kaopectate. Just a couple spoonfuls of creamy, soothing kaopectate is all it takes. Kaopectate, there's still nothing else quite like it.
Well, we're here with tropical fish dealer Rudy Laszlo, who thinks his zipper bags are fine and won't switch to Gladlock zipper bags.
That's correct.
Rudy, what do you say we drop these piranhas here into your little fish heaven?
No.
Sealed in either your bag or the Gladlock bag with the yellow and blue make green seal, which means the bag is closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
These are my little friends. Use the Gladlock.
When it really counts, get Gladlock. Can you hear that? They're applauding you. Rudy, Rudy, Rudy.
From President Clinton tonight, a formal announcement of rules allowing more contact with Cuba and a plea for the United States to strengthen its role as a world leader, saying if the U.S. does not lead, the job will not be done, especially in Bosnia, where he has promised to send up to 25,000 U.S. troops if there is a peace plan in that beleaguered part of the world. More now on the day of Pope John Paul II celebrating Mass for 80,000 at a New York racetrack today. His message? That family values are threatened by divorce and single-parent families. He also had a plea for the American people to do more about poverty in their midst. Another big theme of the Pope's visit, the shortage of priests in the Catholic Church. One big reason, the unchanging standards of the Catholic Church, opposed by 2/3 of practicing Catholics in a recent poll who said women and married people should now be ordained. NBC's Dawn Fratangelo has more.
Sister Virginia Welsh leads Bible study. She worries about repairs.
An asbestos problem.
She oversees the grade school.
Did they come from God?
Yes.
One moment, I might be at the bedside of someone who's dying, and a half an hour later, I'm talking to somebody about buying a new boiler.
Though she is not a priest, Sister Virginia runs St. Mary's Church in Toledo. It's one of more than 300 parishes in this country run by someone other than a priest.
The problem? A severe shortage of priests. In the mid-1960s, there were 35,000 priests in this country. Now there are only 24,000, and that number is expected to keep dropping.
Young men these days are not willing to commit themselves to a life of celibacy.
St. Mary's Church does have a part-time priest who delivers Mass. Sister Virginia must look on because she cannot be ordained, cannot say Mass, even though parishioners trust her as the church's spiritual guide.
The sacramental life of the church is so much based upon walking with people on a journey. And then when it comes to that moment, to celebrate that, I must step back.
Many at St. Mary's echo her frustration.
I think it's hypocritical of the church in the fact that they're telling me that a woman cannot be as holy as a man.
And in Massachusetts, a different approach to the shortage of priests. Use former priests. Ron Ingalls left the priesthood in 1971 to get married. He now works with Rent-A-Priest and performs the sacraments even though the church doesn't condone it.
There is a tremendous spiritual hunger out there amongst the people today, and we have an average of 400 married priests per state available to us, and we should use them.
With fewer priests, who will be the spiritual leaders? Those who are taking over the reins, like Sister Virginia, hope the church will follow their lead. Dawn Fratangelo, NBC News, Toledo.
When we come back, NBC News in depth tonight, reforming Medicaid in this country, how middle-class families could be caught in a big squeeze.
We just weren't hungry, dear. Well, I'll make cappuccino.
Cappuccino?
They don't have a rug, but they have a cappuccino machine.
Honey, what's going on?
Maxwell House Cappuccino. Delicious.
I'll help with the dishes. Oh, that's okay. We have a dishwasher, too.
New Irish Cream Cappuccino, only from Maxwell House.
In the mood for something wild? Have a fiesta from Campbell's. The soup with a spicy mix of rousing rice, colorful carrots, and the pizzazz of sweet red peppers. You'll fall for the flavor.
It's the Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl. Choose your favorite pasta from our special menu, then manja. Enjoy as many free refills as you want with free soup or salad and breadsticks. The never-ending pasta bowl, just $6.95 for a short time at the Olive Garden.
Do you believe this? It's a dairy wonderland. But Derry and I just don't get along. If I eat this cheese, it'll do a real number on my stomach. But it's no problem now, because before I eat dairy, I take Lactaid.
Lactaid is the first supplement that works naturally to make dairy foods more digestible.
Pardon me, there's no more cheesecake.
Lactaid, for the love of dairy.
I just have to have my cheesecake.
NBC News in depth tonight, reforming Medicaid may have a big impact on millions of American families. On Capitol Hill today, there was a hearing on the Republican plan to turn Medicaid over to the states in the form of block grants. Advocates for seniors are opposed to that. Why? Well, Medicaid is a joint federal and state program which ensures the poor, the disabled, and increasingly the elderly. $50 billion of the total budget goes to the elderly. Almost half of that money goes for nursing home care. And that's why rolling back future Medicaid spending could mean a big squeeze for the middle class. NBC's Lisa Myers tonight begins our in-depth reporting.
Many think that Medicaid helps only the poorest of the poor, mostly women and children. But that's not the case. Many of the biggest beneficiaries are the elderly and their families, who often aren't poor at all. Dorothy Inglis is 102 years old and still telling her son Bob what to do.
That isn't a very good shirt for a picture.
Mrs. Inglis has been in a nursing home for 5 years. After her pension and savings were gone, Medicaid picked up the tab. Cost about $160,000.
Without Medicaid, it would have been a real hardship on our family.
Bob Inglis and his wife are comfortably middle class, but could not afford $100 a day for his mother's nursing home. Almost 2/3 of Medicaid money each year now goes for long-term care for the disabled and elderly. The 4 million elderly on Medicaid cost an average of $9,000 each a year, 9 times what Medicaid spends on health care for the average poor child. Because of the high cost, long-term care for the elderly will be an inviting target for states, which may take over Medicaid and need to save money. And that is all but certain to affect middle-class families, couples in their 40s and 50s, whose parents soon may need care.
There may be fewer people that are getting care. There may be fewer services that the state will fund. Those are the hard choices.
Velvet Miller runs New Jersey's Medicaid program for Republican Governor Christine Todd Whitman. She says the goal of saving $182 billion over 7 years is fine, but that initial cuts are too big.
If the cutbacks are too large so quickly, then we're going to have to make decisions that will hurt people.
One way states plan to save is through alternatives to nursing homes, such as home care. Another is by having spouses and families share more of the costs. People like Loman Oglesby, who hates that taxpayers are paying his wife's nursing home bills.
I'm an independent old cuss. I didn't like that, but I had no option.
With Medicaid, Oglesby was able to keep his home and car and what little money he had, so he wasn't penniless. Republicans are divided over whether to take away that protection for spouses.
I can give up a good bit of my income and still live, and I'm willing to do that in order to help with this budget, but don't take it all away from me.
Loopholes have enabled some families to transfer assets to children so the parent is poor enough to go on Medicaid. States are certain to crack down on that.
There is an industry that has been very creative in helping people protect their funds.
Ironically, reforming this program for the poor may well end up hurting the middle class. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Washington.
So what could this mean to your family? NBC's Bob Kerr continues our in-depth reporting tonight with the families of two seniors who rely on Medicaid for nursing home care. Two families who are very worried.
Jackie Small's 84-year-old mother suffers from Alzheimer's. It became impossible for the Smalls to take care of her at home. She now lives at Morningside House in New York City. The cost of her round-the-clock care, $6,000 a month. Smalls worries that cuts in future Medicaid spending could cause her mother's care to deteriorate.
If Mommy wasn't able to come here and get all the service that she needed, I mean, it's like, I don't think she'd be with us very much longer. You know, that's the bottom line. You'd be sending her to an early death.
Her mom's nursing home is in New York State, where federal Medicaid cuts could mean a multi-billion-dollar hit.
It might mean a change in staffing ratio on the units, where we have more residents per patient, per nursing assistant.
It's not only the quality of care at stake, it's getting in the door. Even patients like 86-year-old Mary Dennehy, who suffers heart and other problems, may no longer be considered sick enough to qualify for Medicaid reimbursement.
And the ones that are going to be left out are the very light care, because they just do not bring in enough dollars.
And that could turn a family's life upside down.
This has given us back a life that we didn't have before with Mama. She's 75% blind. She's not able to take care of herself.
Remember when you used to play ball with him?
Daughters like Jackie Smalls and Joanna Unger may face a horrible choice, doing right by their parents or doing all they want for their own children. Bob Kerr, NBC News.
And against this backdrop, one fact to consider, the cost of Medicaid to state and federal taxpayers has gone up sixfold in the last 15 years. If there is no reform, it's expected to double again in the next 7 years. I'll be back in a moment with an exclusive interview with L.A. District Attorney Gil Garcetti with Jack Ford tonight.
Presenting the no-fee Ford Citibank card. With every purchase, you get an amazing 5% Ford rebate that grows toward the purchase or red carpet lease of a new Ford or Lincoln Mercury, like an Explorer, a Continental, or even a Mustang. Which means you can save big and really knock down your monthly car payment. All with the superior services of Citibank. Call 1-800-374-7777 for the no-fee Ford Citibank card.
In business, you can't always count on having enough time. But you can count on AT&T, because only AT&T guarantees you a competitive price. Our 1-800-COMPARE Center will give you an immediate side-by-side price comparison, and we're so sure that our prices are competitive that if you don't agree, we'll give you 1 month's worth of long distance up to $500. These days, you can't count on much, but you can count on AT&T for the life of your business.
Bayer, powerful pain relief, and so much more.
I don't want to spend my life working on a medicine that might help my grandchildren. There are people that need it now. They can't wait.
There are millions of people counting on us.
There are patients out there that are sick now that we can have an impact on.
I come to work thinking, you know, I want to improve the situation for people.
Tomorrow might be the day. Medicines to the patient faster.
We're gonna get the answers.
Glaxo Welcome, on the brink of discovery.
Dateline tonight. 2 exclusives. O.J. juror Lionel Cryer speaks out for the first time, plus D.A. Gil Garcetti one-on-one. Dateline NBC tonight. Don't miss it.
The latest fallout tonight from the O.J. Simpson verdicts. Prosecutor Marsha Clark was reported saying she wasn't surprised that the mostly black jury acquitted Simpson. CNN quoted Clark as saying, liberals don't want to admit it, but a majority black jury won't convict. In a case like this, Clark denied the remark, saying that she was misquoted in an off-the-record conversation. Tonight, Clark's boss, Los Angeles District Attorney Gil Garcetti, talked exclusively to NBC's Jack Ford.
What sort of personal toll did this take on the prosecutors who tried the case?
The toll is immense, and it's just not on the individual prosecutors, but it's on their families too. We all shared in the pain and the disappointment.
What was the first thought that went through your mind when you heard the not guilty verdicts?
How could it be? I've seen close cases. I've seen what we call, just dead bang cases, slam dunk cases. This was even far beyond that.
You mentioned that we as a society need to approach the idea of jury service differently.
I'm talking about a real commitment, like almost, if not an actual mandatory jury service. You don't have an excuse.
Is there anything more that could have been done by the prosecutor's office once Mark Furman and his attitudes became a question?
We talked to other police officers. We talked to the investigators who were closest to him. We talked to our own deputy DAs. We didn't have any access to the personnel files of LAPD. We did not see the racist problems.
If you had a chance to sit down and talk with these jurors, what would you say to them?
I would ask them, when did you make this decision?
If you had a chance to sit down and talk with O.J. Simpson, what would you say to him?
I have nothing to say to Mr. Simpson.
More of Jack Ford's exclusive interview with Gil Garcetti, as well as another exclusive tonight. Stone Phillips talks to Simpson juror number 6, Lionel Cryer, on Dateline NBC at a special time tonight, 9 Central Time. And a postscript to this week that was the end of the trial of the century. The television camera that brought us the Simpson trial removed from the courtroom of Judge Lance Ito today, Department 103 of the Superior Court of Los Angeles. It was a mixed day on Wall Street. The Dow was up in heavy trading. The NASDAQ was down slightly for the week. The Dow finished down, and so did NASDAQ. Now to NBC News Online. When both mom and dad work, taking care of the kids becomes priority number 1. A new study says the most popular child care solution, the relatives. 30% turn to organized facilities. 17% choose family daycare settings. The study says that America has almost 10 million preschool children who require daycare. The average cost, more than $300 a month, or at least 8% of an average family's income. When we come back, a hero's welcome in New York City.
Hey, buddy, congratulations. Fantastic job, and I'm proud of you.
Meet the school bus hero and his remarkable family, our American Close-Up.
Sarah knows a lot about diabetes because she has it. But she doesn't know that Eli Lilly and Company develop the medicine she takes every day, or that Lilly keeps her doctor up to date with the findings of healthcare professionals all over the world who treat kids just like her. Why should she? She's busy just being a 7-year-old. If the last 119 years have taught us anything, it is simply this: knowledge is powerful medicine. So today, Lilly is collecting, analyzing, and sharing information with thousands of healthcare providers and patients, and leading the search for better, more affordable treatments, preventions, and cures, so Sarah and the rest of us can all live healthier, more active lives. Eli Lilly and Company. Knowledge is powerful medicine.
Goodyear retailers have lowered prices on America's #1 brand.
Lower! Lower!
Everyday lows start at $19.99 and save 25% on other famous Goodyear tires. How low are the prices? Drop in and find out.
Mighty Dog presents Sam.
Now that she's over 7, there's Mighty Dog Senior. Specially formulated with 25% less fat and extra nutrients to meet her needs. It makes your dog a Mighty Dog.
Introducing an Alka-Seltzer that goes where no Alka-Seltzer has gone before. New Alka-Seltzer caplets. Now you can get the fast, effective relief you need in an easy-to-swallow caplet. So the next time you get acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, Alka-Seltzer caplets provide a very convenient solution. Anytime, anywhere. New Alka-Seltzer caplets, a great new way to feel better fast.
Saturday on Today, continuing coverage of the country's reaction to the O.J. Simpson verdict and an update on the Pope's visit to America. Join us Saturday and see what a difference today makes.
It's Friday, time for our American Close-Up. There's a lot of talk these days in this country about how America needs heroes, real heroes, the kind who rise to the occasion when the need is the greatest and then handle all the praise with great modesty and ease. Well, how about this young man for a hero? 10-year-old Larry Champagne had everything but a ticker tape parade in New York City today.
Hello. we saw you on TV this morning.
Hey, buddy, congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic job, and I'm proud of you.
In case you haven't heard, he's America's newest and youngest hero.
I'm surprised you remember the name.
Larry and his brother Jay were riding the bus to their school in St. Louis. On Interstate 40, something happened.
And then I noticed that we hit a big bump and the bus driver kind of slumped over and fell out of her seat.
The driver had suffered a stroke.
And then for some reason, the bus started swaying back and forth and hitting the guardrails of the highway.
Just imagine what it was like for the 20 kids in the bus.
Most of them just sat there and cried and cried and cried.
Not Larry. He decided to act.
I ran up here, and then I kind of stepped in place, and then just stomped on the brake.
Larry hit the brakes. He went up there and hit the brakes. Then he called me, Gregory, and Angelo, and we tried to help the bus driver get up. And that's when the truck hit us.
The bus was probably going about 55 miles an hour on a rush hour highway, and if it hadn't been for Larry, the bus perhaps could have tipped over or at least run into several cars, and then children could have been seriously injured.
But how would a 10-year-old schoolboy know how to stop a bus? Well, it turns out that Larry has learned something about mechanics from his grandfather.
I do a lot of things with him, like we work on his truck, and I'll start it up while he's messing with the battery.
Word about Larry's heroics got around very quickly. NBC's Today Show flew him and his family to New York. And everywhere he went in the Big Apple, people seemed to know about him. This kind of love came along just at the right time for Larry and his family. Just 3 weeks ago, Larry's father was stabbed to death in St. Louis.
It kind of eases the hurt. And for the family to give us something different to focus on. And it helps us to look forward. It really, really does.
At the end of a very long day for Larry Champagne III, still more attention, more honors.
Congratulations.
Stop it. These are New York's finest here. The final stop, New York's famous stage delicatessen, where a new sandwich was unveiled. It's called the Larry Champagne Sandwich. It's a hero. When last we left him, he was still working on it, and he could be there until Monday morning. Larry Champagne, our American Close-Up. That's Nightly News for Friday. Don't forget Dateline NBC tonight at 10, 9 Central. Brian Williams will be here tomorrow night. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here on Monday.